Hello everyone and welcome back to this Kubernetes Zero to Hero series. In the previous video, we learned how to write Kubernetes YAML manifest like a professional. We created our first deployment and understood how Kubernetes uses YAML to describe the desired state of an application. But today we are going to solve a problem that almost every beginner runs into. Let me tell you a story about a massive retail platform during a major flash sale. The traffic was climbing rapidly. The backend engineering team realized that the database connection timeout value was set too low, and this was causing customer orders to drop. The fix was incredibly simple. Just change the single configuration number from 3 to 30. But here's the catch. The timeout was hard coded inside the application code. Now, to roll out this tiny single digit change, the team had to commit the code, kick off a complete CI/CD pipeline, build a fresh Docker image, push it to the registry, and then redeploy the entire application to the production cluster. The whole process took 45 agonizing minutes, and by the time the deployment finished, the flash sale was over, and the company had lost over $100,000 in abandoned shopping carts, all because of a hard coded settings. Today, we are going to learn how to completely decouple your application binaries from your configuration settings using a core Kubernetes resource called a ConfigMap. By the end of this video, you will never want to build a new container image just to change a configuration flag again. So, what's the problem statement? One of the core principles of the 12-factor app methodology is that application code and configuration files should always be kept separate. Your code is a static binary. It shouldn't change whether it runs in the development environment, testing environment, or in the production environment. However, many applications still package their database URLs, log levels, and API keys inside their container images or bake them directly into the application code configuration files. And if you bake settings directly into your container images, you will hit three massive walls. The first is image bloat and registry fatigue. You are forced to maintain different container images for different environments, even though the underlying compiled code is exactly identical. So you'll have an image for a dev environment, an image for stage environment, an image for prod environment, and all of this image will have the same exact identical compiled code. The next issue is slow operational agility. If a database password rotates or a log level needs change from, let's say, info to debug during an active incident, you shouldn't have to wait for a full code compilation pipeline to finish. And the third concern is security nightmares. Putting configuration files inside your application image risks exposing internal endpoints, backend system details, and environments to anyone who has access to your container registry. We need a clean way to keep your container image completely generic while injecting environment specific details dynamically right when the application boots up. This is exactly where ConfigMap solves the problem. Think of Kubernetes ConfigMap like an external pluggable flash drive for your pods. So instead of soldering your data directly into your computer's motherboard, you store it on a separate flash drive, and when you plug it, your computer reads the settings. And if you move that computer to a different office, you don't buy a new computer, you just plug in a different flash drive preloaded with that office network settings. So what exactly is a config map? A config map is a native Kubernetes object used to store non-confidential configuration data as key value pairs. Once you create this config map, your pods can consume your config map in two primary ways. One is as environment variables, the other as mounted configuration files. So when we say environment variables, the keys in your config map becomes environment variables inside the container shell, which your application code can easily grab at startup. And if you're mounting them as configuration files, Kubernetes can turn your config map into a literal directory inside your container, rendering each key as a separate configuration file. Let's head over to the terminal and see exactly how to write, inject, and use a config map in a real application mindset. So here are the files that I'll be using for this demo. So I have two config maps, one for the dev, one for the prod, and then I have a couple of deployments. Again, one for the dev and one for prod. So this dev config map will be mapped to the dev deployment, and the prod config map will be mapped to the prod deployment. I'll be sharing the link to this in the description section. So here I have the file. So let's look at this file. So let's start with the dev config map. If you look at this config map, you can notice its core anatomy. The kind here, we are telling that we want to create a config map, And under this data block, we simply define your key value pairing, right? And also we have a block line of multi-line configuration data using a YAML, a literal indicator, basically this one. So we are telling that, hey, I want to create a config map. You can give your namespace and then what are the data that you want as part of your config map. So in this case, you can say I'm passing the log level, I'm passing the database URL, and then also I have a multi-line configuration. Let's go ahead and apply this. Now this is specifically for dev. Before I apply this, let's look at the prod one. So you can see this is for the prod. So again, the database URL specific to the prod and then the settings specific to the prod. So likewise, you can maintain configuration files specific to your environments. And let's go ahead and create this config map. So kubectl create -f dev, and then now let's create the prod, and both my config maps should be created. Now to get your config maps, you can use this kubectl get config map, and here you can see there are my two config maps. So this one which is for the prod environment, and this is for the dev environment. Now if you want to see what all data or configuration you have, like assuming you don't have the YAML file, you want to see what is the configuration or the data that you have passed. For that, you can simply say kubectl get config map, your name, and then -o YAML. And here you can clearly see the data that you're passing as part of your configuration file. So likewise, if I see for the prod, so let me simply change this to prod, and here is my prod configuration file. So you can see this is dev URL, this is the prod URL, my log level is info, my log level is debug. So environment specific configurations that I am setting. Now let's look at the deployment file, how we can pass this to the deployment file so that my pods can start using it. So first let's look at the dev YAML file. So we are creating a deployment. I want to create one pod. I'm giving my labels. Now coming to the specification. So this is the main area that you need to look at. So my image remains the same. So irrespective of the environment, whether it is prod, dev, staging, my image will remain the same. So even if I have to change my configuration, I don't need to rebuild my image. I just need to go and update my configuration file. So that's the whole point of using your config map, where we can separate our application code with from your configurations. Now, there are two ways that you can grab the data from your configuration files. One is you can pass it as an environment variables. So this is the first option, using env from. So this is basically saying that, hey, I want to set my environment variables. Now from where? From my config map. And what is the config map? So whatever the data that you have passed here will be stored as environment variable inside my container that will be created. The second option is you can also mount it as a file inside your container. So you can see I'm telling that, hey, I want to mount a volume. This is the name of the volume and this is the path where I want to mount it. And then here I've created the volume. So basically for this, here we are creating the volume. We are telling that, get the data from my config map. This is the config map name. And then I'm telling that I don't want everything from this. I want specific data only. So I'm using items. And what is the key you want? I want the data that I have under UI.properties and store it as UI.properties inside the container. So the same thing I have in my prod as well. So, but in this case, I am referring the prod config map. So again, you can see env from the config map name, and then I'm also mounting it as a volume. So what happens? My image will remain constant, but then if I want to change my configuration, I just need to update this or add the new values inside my config map. Let's go ahead and apply this. So let me exit from here. So kubectl apply -f, and let's first deploy the dev, and now we will deploy the prod, and done. So let's get the deployment. So kubectl get deployments, and here you can see there's my dev pod, and there's my prod pod. Now you can also describe this, just to, if you want to see your config map is attached to this as a volume or not. So kubectl get deployments and the deployment name, sorry, describe deployment. So let me change this to describe. And yeah, so you can see here mounts, so slash app slash config, and also you can see here I've set my environment variables, right? And from where this is coming, from this config map. And is this optional? No, it is not optional. All right, so both options are available. It's totally your choice. You want to pass it as environment variables, or you want to mount it as a volume so that your application code can read the configurations from that particular path. All right. To validate whether the data is there or not, we can go inside the container and we can see the data. So let's do that. So kubectl exec and sh. So I'm inside the container now. Now the first thing we can check your environment variable. So slash env, and here you can see there's my database URL. There's my log info and the UI properties. So you can see UI.properties theme is light. Likewise, features.billing, max page dot size. Now this is all that we have stored in our config map. So you can see UI.properties, theme, feature.billings, max.page.size, and that is what is being passed over here. The same thing, we are also passing it as a file. So this is the path, right? So if we go to this path here, I should be able to see my file, right? And if I see the content of this here, so whatever I had under my UI dot properties, I will have that inside the file. So this is how you can use your config maps to pass configurations to your application without needing to build the application every time you need to update certain configurations for your applications. So that's the whole point of your config map. Separate out your application code from your configurations. So if you want to change something, just change the configuration maps. That's all. Now let's look at a real world production example. So how do high scale multi-tenant digital enterprises like Swiggy, Flipkart or Netflix leverage this in production? The first is they will have environment parity pipeline. So they maintain one golden hardened container application image, and when that image progresses through their deployment pipelines, the CI/CD engine binds it to the dev config map, to the QA config map, to the prod config map, to the specific namespaces. So the dev config map goes to the dev namespace, QA config map goes to the QA namespace, and then so on. So you'll have the same code, but just different configurations for specific environments. Second is centralized microservices architecture. So large apps often need to share globally common parameters like central tracing endpoints or CDN domain paths. They store this in a single cluster-wide shared config map, allowing dozens of independent microservice pods to pull from the exact same configurations. The third is hot reloading system failures. So when a config map mounted as a volume is updated inside the cluster, Kubernetes will automatically update the corresponding files inside the container within a few minutes without starting the pod. Companies write application layers that watch these configuration directories for updates, allowing them to flip features on or off live in production with zero downtime. So if you are using env to pass the config map data, then you will need to restart the pod. That's mandatory. But if you're using a file volume, then Kubernetes will automatically update these data within a few minutes. You don't need to restart the pod. So that's the difference between using env and as a volume for your config maps. Now let's look at some of the interview questions that you can expect from here. So the first question we have is, what's the main structural difference between a config map and a secret? So config maps are designed for plain text, non-sensitive configuration data like your application properties and feature flags. Secrets, on the other hand, are designed explicitly for sensitive data like your API tokens and certificates. And secrets are obfuscated via base 64 encoding and can also be protected by a strict RBAC and encryption at rest keys. The next question is, what happens to a mounted volume config map inside a container when the config map is updated inside the cluster? So if the config map is mounted as a volume, Kubernetes will automatically update the data files inside the container shell within a short propagation window. However, the application code must be built to watch for file changes to consume the updates without a restart. But if it was injected as environment variables, then a pod restart is mandated. The third question is, can a pod consume a config map that resides in a different namespace? No, it's not possible. Config maps are namespace scoped resources. So a pod can only reference and consume config maps that exist within its exact namespace boundary. So let's say you have a pod running in finance namespace and your config map is in marketing namespace. You cannot consume them. You will need to make sure that your config map is also within the same namespace. So before we wrap up, let's quickly recap. Decoupling your configuration from your application builds is a non-negotiable step for modern production architectures. Config maps gives you the flexibility to inject environment variables and configuration files dynamically, saving you time and preventing operational fatigue. Now that you know how to manage plain text settings cleanly using config maps, our next major operational hurdle is managing sensitive structural data like passwords, database credentials, and certificates without compromising security. Join me in the next module where we will deep dive into Kubernetes secrets and enterprise configuration protection. If you learned something new today, please consider subscribing to the channel, hit that like button and share the video with your circle. If you have any feedback, please leave them in the comments section below. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next session.